I think the political view has shifted. And I think we're seeing it from the EU, US, and China, where they want to be a lot more self-dependent. And it's basically to stop other nations being able to enforce influence on them, and so they can be more independent. And that all comes back to the same driver behind gold, why countries are adding gold, why we expect that to continue. And yes, at the margin, you will see some of these small commodities that are pretty irrelevant on an economic basis, certainly on a global level, having huge outsized impact. To chuck a few billion at it to try and solve that issue ultimately addresses an issue that they view as hundreds of billions, if not $1 trillion kind of issue on bigger trade. So yeah, it's something we expect to continue. We're certainly seeing a lot more. We're seeing a lot of companies that are regularly through Washington, particularly across our uranium exposure. Uranium mining exposure, the US, 20% of their power comes from nuclear power. They've just committed to building 10 more reactors at a cost of $80 billion. Yet they only provide a fraction of their material from domestic sources. They're going to likely put in some measures there to try and support domestic production. They've probably got to lean into better relations with some offtake from some of the Canadian miners. So it's all these kind of moving parts. Geopolitics is definitely a big part of things, both funding and general trade flow. But what I would say is for earlier stage projects that are unpermitted, is it's materially shifted the dynamic there of political support for getting things put. So that's certainly something we're factoring into our numbers and assessment of how to view that risk, both on an absolute risk, binary, do they or do they not get a permit, but also the timelines in doing so. So there's a lot more support, easy financing, subsidies, and general political support. Yeah, we think it's a pretty favorable time to be looking at that space.
Yeah, I mean,